교수님한테 한 질문. 선생님의 주장에서 요시야 시대가 매우 중요하다는 인상을 받았습니다. 제가 배우기로 소위 신명기 역사서로 불리우는 성서들은 페르시아 시기까지 편집이 되었고 그 과정에 다양한 공동체 정체성이 얽힌 기억들이 반영되었다고 들었습니다. 요시야 시대를 지나서도 본문이 편집되었고 하나의 정치적 이데올로를 주도하기보다는 다양한 공동체의 기억이 본문 형성에 기여했다는 공주장에 대해서 선생님 어떻게 생각하십니까?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. It's a very good question. I agree with this analysis, but in a different way, I should say. There is no doubt that the Deuteronomistic history has layers which are post-Josiah. But in my opinion, the basic layer, the earliest layer, the early edition, if you wish to call it that way, of the Deuteronomistic history should be placed in the late 7th century. There are many indications for this that we don't have now the time to discuss, I think, but I see it is very difficult for me, for instance, to accept the past theory starting with Martin Knott, for instance, that everything is post-exilic, everything is after 586 and so on. So yes, there are layers after 586, there's no question. And perhaps here and there even far later. As you understand already, I am deeply interested in the later phases, which are perhaps more prominent in the Pentateuch and in the later historiographic works. When I say later phases, I'm speaking about the 2nd century. And my own interest in recent years is very much on the Hasmoneans, on the Maccabees. I am coming back. Last week I was in Germany in a conference where the Hasmonean period was discussed very intensively. In my opinion, the earliest version, or let me say a few more words, in fact. Yes, the earliest layer, in my opinion, is from the time of Josiah. But even in the earliest layer, there are texts that are earlier than Josiah, which means, let me say the following, please. In my book, The Bible Unearthed, I put all the attention on the 7th century, on Josiah. This book was published in 2001, which means 24 years ago. And in fact, it was written when I was on sabbatical in Paris in 1988-89. So this is more than 25 years ago. Since then, I have taken 2 steps, one step back and one step forward. What do I mean? One step back in the sense that I now acknowledge the importance of northern texts that originated in the Northern Kingdom, that came from the Northern Kingdom, and were incorporated in the Josianic edition, so to speak. And they come from the period, in my opinion, of Jeroboam II. Let me give you an example. Yitzhak Lee, who is sitting here with us, wrote an article on the Solomonic districts in 1 Kings 4 and showed how the Solomonic districts in 1 King 4, they fit the situation in the Northern Kingdom in the first half of the 8th century BC. So this is the step back. And then I took also a step forward in the sense that I acknowledge additions and the composition also of historiographic texts in the Bible, not only, or maybe even more out of the Deuteronomistic history, but still until the 2nd century BC.